A dreamer is one who can only find his way by moonlight, and his punishment is that he sees the dawn before the rest of the world. On the 16th of October, 1854, Oscar Wilde, an aesthete and brave man, devoting his entire life to the pursuit of aesthetics, was born at 21 Westland Row, Dublin. His father, Sir William Wilde, was a knighted doctor and was very generous to treat the poor. His mother, on the other hand, was both a poet and a lifelong Irish nationalist who frequently read the young islander's poetry to Oscar. Growing up in this kind of environment, Oscar's passion of literature and sympathy for the poor were well cultivated. In 1878, he graduated from Oxford and he published his first collection of poems 3 years later, which contributed to his reputation, winning a chance to deliver lectures in the next 6 years in London and Paris, and in the United States. From 1886 to 1895, his golden age of creation came. The Happy Prince, The Picture of Dorian Gray, and The Importance of Being Earnest were a massive success, and these pushed him to his peak. Unfortunately, a man, Alfred Douglas, nicknamed Bosie, destroyed Wilde's life, and on the 25th of May, 1895, Wilde was convicted of gross indecency and imprisoned. Those years of captivity were the darkest time for Oscar Wilde, since his confidence, reputation, and ambition were all destructed, except his brilliance. During his imprisonment, De Profundis was written, a letter depicting his extravagant lifestyle and recounting his previous relationship with Bosie. On the 30th of November 1900, tragically he died of meningitis and was buried in Paris. We are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at the stars.
Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Halewood & Sons of Friargate, Preston, opposite Roper Hall. My name's Michael Halewood and I welcome you to our bookshop. I've always had an interest in the topic of today, which is Oscar Wilde, who was one of the most famous of all English literary authors and playwrights, and was associated, and how I got interested in him, with Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes stories. And both he and Oscar Wilde were invited in the early stages of their career to write a story for Lippincott's, the American magazine of the day, who wanted to introduce new famous authors to the public. Oscar Wilde wrote The Picture of Dorian Gray, which is one of his most important and fascinating Gothic novels, and Conan Doyle wrote The Sign of Four, his second Sherlock Holmes story, both of which went on to be very famous. And Oscar Wilde was one of our finest authors, and I think should be recognised as such, even though in his latter years he was involved in a court case and went up against indecency laws of the day, which today wouldn't have been a problem, but in those days he was looked upon as a scoundrel and ended up going to prison for 2 years and being sent to France to live the remainder of his life in exile, which was very sad. And because of that, I think a lot of the credit he should have achieved as one of our greatest authors has not been acclaimed as it should have been. The big involvement today in devices such as computers, laptops, and reference things to look up books and people not reading is, to my mind, very sad. You can have a quick reference through Google, and you can obviously enjoy on holiday taking something with you that isn't a book, but I think nothing can replace the quality of a good book. And for research and reference, I think you need a good reference work to rely on, and can learn a lot from that.